The password. John who?
Come on. Okay, John Woo.
All right. Come right in. It's a trap!
All right, everybody. Welcome back to our video game book club, part 2 of Max Payne. I don't have too much to say about the game right now. I'm sure I'll have more to say later. So, Preston, it is your game, your part 2. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I have a feeling you'll have a lot to say once we get to the end of this game. So, we continue our escape through the basement/sewers of the restaurant. We get out, and Vlad pulls up and says he will take us to the Punchinello Manor. Says to look him up after all this is over for more work. So we arrive, but the guards are dead, and we suspect Mona. So we will have the trio to deal with. So we end up shooting our way throughout the manor, on our way through the basement, and enter a kitchen where we take out the first trio. I thought it was just one trio. Apparently there's 3 trios. So we take out the first trio in the kitchen, second and third in the rooms upstairs. We end up finding a body and don't know if it's Mona's or her sister's because it's so mangled and damaged. Alfred Wooden calls again to let us know an armored chopper has landed on the roof. We hear Punchinello crying like a little baby and panicking, and we end up busting in the door. I have a quote here. He folds like a deuce before a royal flush. Agents swarm in and kill Punchinello before he can say anything. Just if you want to go.
The dialogue. I texted Christian twice today. And was like, what the actual F is this dialogue?
It's fun.
Right here.
A lot of fun.
It's something.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I know we talked about this last time, but you just mentioned it, right? So she actually is a twin. Like we are confirmed. It's not just she is really
correct.
a twin.
She is really a twin.
Yes.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we did get to confirm just now. So agents end up swarming in and kill Punchinello before he can say anything. Outside the door, we are surprised and outnumbered. It's a big squad of people, and a lady is leading the squad. She ends up ODing us with Valkyrie. We end up tripping balls, and a green vortex takes us to another nightmare trip.
This was the first one I texted Christian like immediately, which was something along the lines like, you find out that Lady Luck is a whore and you're all out of cash. And I was just like, what?
Yep.
What is this?
I thought, for some reason I thought in my memory, because I played it like shortly after we finished.
Yeah.
Last week's episode, but I thought he was like, and you're fresh out of dough, and I was like, ugh. But he said cash. I
like the writing. It's not the greatest writing. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's great writing, but I am enjoying it. I like the writing. The manor turns into Max's old home. He gets to the bed. This is with your wife calling out to you. It flashes us back to the big office in the manor. There is a note saying we are in a graphic novel. Kind of goes through a little bit of dialogue there, and a phone call has, I think it's our voice, describing things in even more extreme version of the writing. So everything that Alex hates about this writing is just put up to the 10s in this little phone call. Max is saying it's babble, but a familiar voice. You try to exit the office, but then you get pulled right back in. You're probably thinking to yourself if this is a glitch, but then you go over to the note, and now it says we are in a video game. The phone is ringing again, and the call is someone telling us to snap out of it. We exit here back to the old home to another blood trail section. This with more jumpies. So this is a lot of fun. Now, I mentioned this to Christian a couple days ago, but I found out this didn't solve everything, but my display cables that go into the back of my PS2 are damaged. So it doesn't sit properly in the little port there. So I was going back, I was moving the PlayStation around because I get it closer to my couch so the controller can reach, because my wireless controller doesn't work anymore. But I was moving that over, and I'm noticing like it goes on the screen. Like I'm like, oh. So I go to touch. I just tap the little back of it, and it's like it's still fuzzy and stuff like that. And I see it get a little brighter. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, okay, let's angle it just right. Got just right to where it's giving me like more brightness than it was. And I'm like, all right, we got this down. Now we got more brightness. So if we get one of these nightmare areas, it's not gonna be so bad, right? Not the case. So it does brighten everything else for me. I can see doors a lot better for certain things, so that way I know I can navigate myself through the maps a little bit better. But as far as this, you can see the red line a little bit better for sure. Mm-hmm. But Max Payne's body is always right in the way of that line, so I can't really see it too well. And with my controller being a little wonky, it's the same routine to where I'm like, aim down, look down, tap, 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 make sure you're not falling off the side, and looking up the guide to find out which jumps I need to make, because I'm not fucking doing all this to take the wrong turn somewhere. I'm like, fuck this. So I'm doing all that. I make it through just fine, but good lord. And the playthroughs I'm watching, like, it looks really nice as far as like what's happening on screen. I mean, obviously it's just black screen with the blood trail, but there's like, you know, the red is raining down upon it too, and you can just see a lot more happening in there, and you can see further out. With me, I can't see very far out.
Are you sure they're not playing the remaster?
There is no remaster.
Well, there's a different version of this game.
There's
like the OG PlayStation 2 and then the Steam version, which I think is better, like higher resolution.
Well, I mean, that's just the PC version. You can get mods to make it look better with HD graphics. And I'm pretty sure the guy I'm watching is using the mods because it looks awfully nice. But there was no remaster of this game ever made. But I get through that shitty little blood trail section. Let's see, where it's at. Checks. I did not highlight this. You land around some candles, only to be thrown back to the bedroom where you shoot the shit out of yourself. You kind of go back into the bedroom. Your wife is saying don't do it, and you're shooting what I guess is like the older or the younger version of yourself. The wife is on the bed, but she gets up, and it says something about a memo at work about Vikings. Max Payne mentions that she is still shut up, and she hugs us, and Creepy Max pops up to say the flesh of fallen angels. It's a very Mortal Kombat, like, whoopsie, that kind of like little scene right there.
That is exactly how it
too, because it looks, I mean, just as Sam Lake's face. We wake up on the street.
No, Sam Lake's dumb face, because he only has dumb faces this entire game.
I'm not going to be mean to Sam Lake like that.
No, I'm not saying he's ugly. I'm just saying, like, his goofy ass smile, like, every capture they have of him is a dumb face.
Kind of like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, dude.
We wake up and just take that and then just like stretch it onto like somebody's face in the game, and it'll be just
seriously. That is, yeah.
We wake up in the street and we remember the other lady saying she was going to Cold Steel, which we know to be a foundry. We go to that foundry. We enter through the roof. He says, "My kung fu is strong." And then he mentions that
he says
my kung fu was strong. And then he
says,
talks about
"I'm like a ninja. My kung fu is strong."
Okay, I put down my kung fu.
This is the other message that Alex sent me today.
I didn't continue with the rest of the quote. Something about Superman being on kryptonite falling or something like that. But yeah, it's a fun little sentence. I liked it. It was cheeky.
I said that one really paired well with the first part where he was like, when he's surrounded by goons, and he goes, yeah, he's like, I found myself surrounded, so I decided to make like Chow Yun fat.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I had that one from part one.
Cheeky is like, oh, if he's got a little bit of a pun, or like he's really commenting, but that's just lazy. Like, you're in this noir-esque like game,
it's inspired by John Woo movies.
Supposed to be. The action is, but the story is supposed to be like this serious, dark noir.
The password for the laundry place was John Woo.
Like, sure, but he's just like, oh, I'm like a ninja. My kung fu is strong. It's like, oh, my guy. This guy, like, I just want to, the whole time, I almost texted this to Christian. It was just like, I just want to be like, boo, this guy stinks.
I like it. I'm enjoying it. So, we hear on the walkie that all our killing has caused the location to be compromised, and they're initiating Operation Dead Eyes to destroy the evidence. We end up finding a note about a chemist who tried to sneak out some drugs and is in a cell. We fight our way through, avoiding the foundry's hazards and proximity mines, which I put in exclamations, are everywhere.
I'm sorry. I think I
Do you need
broke
this fucking second, Christian?
No, okay. First of all, don't be fucking mad at me. And secondly, I'll get this thought out. All I can think of now after Alex saying, "Boo, this guy stinks," is the beginning scene and what ends up being obviously the end scene. But when Max is on the fucking skyscraper and it's just Alex out at the bottom going, "Jump, you loser." That's all I could think of was this idea of Alex just being like, "Boo, jump."
Preston's so upset.
I'm not that mad. I just don't think it's as funny.
Oh.
You look mad. It's as funny as the quirky writing in this game that you called cheeky.
Yeah, but I'm not like laughing to tears like you're laughing right now. All right.
Okay.
So, we are fighting our way through the foundry, avoiding a lot of hazards, and proximity mines, which I put down, are fucking everywhere. This game has a real cool way of like pissing me off by me turning a corner and not expecting a proximity mine, and then dying and having to restart that part of the chapter all over again.
Dude, it's like it happens. It happens a non-insignificant amount of times. Like there's so many. Like you'll just turn. It's like boom, and then Max is just on the ground, and then it does the fucking camera shit. Yeah, and you're just like, dude, what?
I had a weird I had a hard time with this area, not because of the the mines were a pain in the ass,
Sure.
but like it looks like halfway through this development when you get to the foundry, they all of a sudden got more money to build out the environment, the assets. Like the first part when you're in the streets,
A lot of
when you're in
apartments, the same kind of buildings.
it's so boring.
Yeah.
There's nothing there, and all of a sudden, like you get into this foundry. And I told Christian this as we were texting. It almost got this like pseudo like futuristic pseudo tech billionaire vibe from like the gritty streets to the second half of the game, where it's like, oh, we also got an influx of cash and we did more. It was very weird, and I still I can't.
Some of the scenes I can kind of get. Like you go to Ayrshire Plaza, like it's going to be a nicer looking place, right? You get to like Secret Lab, it's probably going to be a little nicer than the slums and all the junkies are hanging out. But yeah, you go from like mob setting to like drug, pharmaceutical settings. Yeah, it's hey, we got some variety in the game. At least we got that, right? So we go through all those hazards. We find an elevator not labeled on the map called D6. On the way to the elevator, we take out some agents and ride a cart through a hall of fire. So in this section, it's just this hall that has like these big like shutters that open up that flames coming through it. And I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to get through this? Well, you jump in the cart, you press an action button, it pushes the car a little bit forward, you press the action button again, you kind of just push yourself past the flames. Of course, does the door on the other side open up like when you're halfway through with enemies? Of course it does. But we'll continue on. So we take D6 down to find a secret lab with agents killing everyone and setting the place up to self-destruct. This was an old military bunker for what was called Project Valhalla. Max has seen this on old buildings throughout town with the sword replaced with a syringe for Valkyrie, obviously. We get through looking for something to get us through some of the locked doors, end up finding a code, 665, the neighbor of the beast. We find the captain. I like that line. I don't know why you're shaking it. I like that line. I've never heard the neighbor of the beast. I've always heard number of the beast, and he's like 665.
Because it's not a thing, Preston.
It is now.
That's why you've
Anytime
never
I see
heard
665,
it.
you better fucking believe I'm like neighbor of the beast. I cannot wait until we have something 665 and I can be like neighbor of the beast and see how annoyed Alex gets. We find the captive chemist. We get them out and tell them that they need to get us past the decontamination room or they can stay in the cell. They run us all the way back, open the decontamination, and we end up finding a computer still logged on with the details for Project Valhalla. It was to create a drug to enhance endurance and stamina for troops. It was decommissioned due to the side effects. Narration changes here to the mystery lady, and it sounds like she started it back up with double the dose and to be tested in an urban setting. The drop-off point was his old address 3 years ago. We leave as we have all the info we need. As we get to the decontamination room, the place starts a countdown for 30 seconds, and you have to shoot an explosive to get to open the door and get directly to the elevator. I don't know if this took you guys a couple times, but I could not figure out how to get the door for a few tries, and then I just looked at the guide. But yeah, I assume that all of these windows and stuff that aren't shattering when I shoot them are bulletproof. Apparently they're not. Some of these you can just shoot right straight through. Some of these you can't. A little hard to tell. As I said, this countdown goes for 30 seconds. You have to show the explosive door. You get to the elevator, and I put on here, because I found out the hard way, hopefully you're not standing over the grate in the middle of the elevator as it goes up. Because I don't know if you guys were there, but that grate falls down, and you will fall with it. So I repeat that section again. Stand off to the side of the grate. You get through, cutscene happens. The whole place.
I didn't realize I was muted there because I was typing before I was pre-signing into the email to send it over to you. But no, I did not stand on the grate, but that would have pissed me off if that happened to me.
It's not fun because I'm sitting there, can't get through the door, exploding. I kind of run through, and I'm in the elevator going up, and I just run out of time, and the place just blows up. And then I'm like, okay, I know what to do now. Hit the bomb, opens the door, rush through. I'm like, I'm out of that door before the countdown even starts. Get to the elevator. I'm standing all right, we got this. And then all of a sudden, I just see the elevator go, and I'm like, oh no. And yep. The only elevator I've ever seen that has a grate in the middle of the bottom of it. And
yeah, that would have pissed me off.
Yeah, that was fun. The whole place blows up, and we deduce that the experimental junkies killed our family, and the mystery lady was behind it all. Max, after all this, just goes to a diner to drink some coffee when BB calls us to meet. We know BB sold us out, and Alex out. BB shows up, obviously paid off and bougie. A car flies up after he tries to convince us everything is good, and we call him out on betraying us and double-crossing us. A car flies up, and BB escapes. BB gets in, and we chase him down to the parking garage, taking out agents on each floor, and avoiding the van that pulls up with guns firing from the windows. Also, the movie did this. And I'm like, oh shit, they're actually having him chase after BB in the parking garage. And I thought that was kind of interesting. This is where he's all tripping out. And then Max Payne in the movie, it just has two Uzis, and he's eyes are glowing. He's like, ah, and they always do these crazy zoom ins on Mark Wahlberg's face. It's fucking hilarious.
His eyes are glowing?
Yeah, because he's on the Valkyrie, so his eyes are glowing that yellow that everything else is kind of glowing yellow around him for, because that's what I guess people on that drug see. I don't know. A payphone rings, and it's Alfred asking to meet us at the Asgard building, which I'm sorry I forgot.
He's like, fuck, sorry, I was trying to call Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. The car crashes and we fight BB on foot with some agents, and then the phone rings. But yes, Alfred Pennyworth calls us, asking us to meet us at the Asgard building, aka the Wayne Manor. We show up, and he tells us the history of the building and his group, the Inner Circle. Max tells him he needs to stop watching. He's been watching too much X-Files when he tells him about the Inner Circle. He says he can fill in the blanks and get us all the info.
Can I say really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
That actually pissed me off when because he's like, you've been watching too many X-Files. It's like, have I been though? Because with the amount of conspiracy that I have learned all the way up until this point proves to me that maybe Agent Mulder isn't actually a fucking psycho.
Yeah. Alfred says he can fill us in the blanks and get us all the info we need. They just need us to blow this whole thing wide open and kill Nicole Horn. She's the one behind it all, and she's the president of ACR Corporation. She also owns over half the city, or has half the city in her pocket. They cannot be known to be involved with it. So after he tells us all that, agents just start showing up and start shooting everyone in the room. We dive out of a window that luckily has a roof right outside of it, and we start to escape the building, fighting our way out. We find a surveillance room and see Albert get up from all the bodies in the chaos as the only survivor, making him the only remaining member of the Inner Circle. Very fishy, very, very fishy. Most likely on purpose, I put here. We also find a tape that Nicole was going to use to blackmail them, so we grab it just in case. We also find Alfred's desk with the blueprints to the Aesir building with details on how we can get to Nicole. I thought it was pretty funny he picked up that tape for blackmail when later on we find a laptop with all of the facts and everything, and he ends up shooting it. But we'll get to that when we get to that. We exit the building and head to the Aesir corporate HQ. We fight our way up from the front door, going up escalators, sometimes booby traps. I put down here, I hate. And moving laser hallways. So these are like proximity mines. They're just moving up and down. You kind of jump or go underneath them as you're going through some of these hallways. Again, enemies may show up, opening the door at the end of those hallways. We end up finding Mona in a elevator. Nicole comes on a walkie and tells her to do her job and just take us out. But Mona tells us she doesn't kill nice guys. Says that we're a nice guy. I don't know. We've killed quite an awful lot amount of people. I don't know if nice is
hundreds. Hundreds tonight, actually.
Yes.
Like,
I don't know if
hours.
Nice guy. I mean, we're killing bad people, but I don't know if that necessarily makes you a nice guy.
no, we're a bad fucking dude.
Yeah, we're a bad fucking dude. Well, maybe the Mona's level, she thinks we're nice as far as killers go, maybe. Who knows? She ends up telling us to duck and gets shot. We end up taking down all those guys. Her body is now missing from the elevator as we take it up. As we are going up to the top, the top is off of the elevator. And this took me, I got surprised by this. I don't know if you guys got surprised for this, but they're taking the elevator up, the top is off, and we have to shoot these mines as we go up to keep them from exploding on us. Had no idea that was going to happen. Had it done the first time. I may have gotten hit once or twice, but I ended up getting up there. But that was a nice little different variation of just your normal everyday shooting in this game. So as we get through that elevator, we get to a security room so we can access an elevator to take us up to Nicole's office. We take it up, but are stopped by a chopper shooting us out of the elevator. And then we have to bust out of the side of the glass to another elevator on the other side, which takes us down. It takes us to a server room. So what do you do there? We just take out the servers so we can take another elevator back up to the office. We find her computer. As we go up the elevator, we end up finding her computer, and instead of getting all the dirt on Nicole, like we did on the Inner Circle guys with that videotape, Max just shoots up the computer.
Oh yeah, that.
Like A, it's going to do anything by shooting the monitor, but B, also you could just like bust it open and just take the hard drive with you. It's even smaller than that VHS
Well,
tape.
I think it feels like it's like one of those things where people, like, I don't know if it was necessarily shot like this on purpose, but it feels like the reason he shot the screen is because it's like, there's a lot of people, especially in like action, they're like, the computer's all in the screen, like that, like that's how that, especially back then.
Inside the computer?
Right, yeah. And so that's how it came off to me, where he's like, I'll fucking blow this computer away, and he just shoots the screen, and someone's like, sick, I'll just plug a new monitor into that and do what I need to do.
Keep on doing what we're doing. But yeah, we shoot up the computer. We end up finding her. She talks some more shit and sticks some more goons on us while she escapes.
I'm sorry. That just your reference, Preston. I completely forgot about that. And the files are in the computer.
Zoolander, just sitting there like monkeys beating on it.
Dude.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. Anytime someone says the files in the computer,
I do.
that goes in my head every fucking time.
So good.
Files in the computer.
I know, and it's like it's shot to with them both like looking at the fucking monitor,
beating on
like,
it and
staring
shit.
at it. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
That's a good movie. We find her computer, and got there already. We find her. She talks some shit while sticking goons on us. She also has a chopper fired at us from the outside of the building. Took me a little bit to figure out a good spot for there, but there is that pillar between the windows that you can kind of sit behind and take pot shots if you want. We end up finding a railing on the outside, which is not easy to jump on because you make any slight deviation and you are sliding off that entire building. So we go across there. Chopper also wants to start shooting at us while we're walking across. We end up finding some more goons and chase Nicole up to the roof. Here, she tries to get into the helicopter, but the wind is too strong. Too much for them to leave. We see a line snap on one of the masts. It looks like someone shot at it. So we end up shooting down another one of the cables before they can take off. Obviously, goons are coming at us, and after a certain while, it does do a countdown because I don't know about you. I was even using a sniper rifle. That thing is not easy to fucking hit. I don't know if it's got a life bar or if you just have to hit it perfectly, but it is not an easy, like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot it and it comes right off. It's not that easy. Now we are back at the scene from the beginning. I'm sorry. Nope. We have that line snap on the mast and we shoot down the other cables before they take off. What will happen is that mast will then fall on the helicopter with Nicole inside of it, crashing it down, assuming that they're all dead. Now we are back at the scene from the very beginning of the game, with Max looking down at the city from above. The police have us surrounded, and we end up surrendering. Max sees Alfred in the crowd, and Max hopes he keeps his word on getting him out since we took down Nicole and the Valhalla Project. And then we'll get credits. This unlocks, if you once you beat the game on this fugitive mode, you get the New York Minute and Hard Boiled mode. Hard Boiled mode is just hard mode, so if you take more damage, they can take more damage. And the New York Minute puts time constraints on all the chapters. If you beat Hard Boiled mode, you get Dead on Arrival mode, which only allows 7 saves per chapter. Which to me, I guess, wouldn't matter because I don't have saves.
Per act or per chapter?
Per chapter.
I mean, like some of those chapters are like 5 minutes long. 7 saves is nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
yeah.
I mean, not that in a bad way. I mean, like it's way too much. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm sure it puts it also like in a harder difficulty, so that way you're probably like, any chance I get to save is gonna save my life for having to replay this entire chapter over again. I didn't watch somebody play it like that, but that is a difficulty setting you can get, which I'm assuming is only on PC because you can't save yourself manually in PlayStation.
Right.
At the end of the credits, it says, Max Payne has only started his journey through the night. The pain has just begun. More will follow. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Max Payne 1, the original. Not necessarily the original. The port to PlayStation 2, because we didn't play it. We couldn't play the PC original. Which I feel would have been a better game. Do you guys want me to give you my rating?
It's still the same game. I mean, like, gameplay-wise, it's a little bit...
But, like, I mean, I feel that, I don't know, this is also me, rose-tinted glasses, over 2 decades ago. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, over 2 decades ago. I don't know, I just feel like the mouse and keyboard like felt better with that as far as a slow motion, being able to take your shots and be able to move around with the controller. There was a lot of aim assist with it, but there's a lot of snapback to neutral on that. So I could be aiming up at somebody who's like shooting from the rafters. I'm like, okay, I'm going to slow down and aim at them. But if I take my finger off the thumbstick, it just goes right back down to neutral straightforward. So that's the part of like the gunplay that just bothered me a bit. Obviously,
but they were super generous. Like when I was playing, I was killing people that my gun was not targeting them.
Oh yeah,
right.
no,
Like,
they will
very generous in what they.
They got homing bullets in some of those weapons for sure.
Yeah.
And that's probably to help you out with the fact that it was a PC game that was meant to be played on keyboard and mouse, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to assist you here a lot because some of these games are not as easy to play on the consoles. Loading screens were a lot. They took quite a while, but I'm going to kind of put that to the factor of PS2. Even though I know there's a lot of open world games out there that can just, load in. You got a big whole section you can kind of go through. I don't, and you can tell me, I mean, you guys played PlayStation 2 era a little bit more, and I can't try to think about GameCube era. I can't even remember as far as PC is concerned, as far as like how the loading times was for that. Would you say this is about average for how many loads and loading levels? Okay, so it's
I think it was
nothing.
on par for, like,
nothing.
Grand Theft Auto 3 and other stuff. Yeah.
Nothing you would put against the game. Okay.
No, I don't think that its performance
it's of its time.
Yeah.
And
its mistakes were making chapters so short between loading screens. Like they could have fit more story in.
Absolutely.
So I think that was its downfall. But the
like if I put
it, stuff was abnormal.
But I was gonna say if I put its loading screen like in a vacuum, it doesn't take any longer or shorter than anything else out there.
And I would say that if I can remember correctly, and I didn't pay attention too much in the walkthrough, but I think there's less of those loading zones as far as like I think you just go through the chapter without having to load unless it's like a substantially different level. But I think most of those you get to go through the chapter and it just kind of gives you a quick load and then the kind of little title card, but not as egregious I think on PC. Like I could be wrong. I don't remember. And I can't play it to find out. I personally like the writing. I can definitely tell this is more of those like, some of the movies you really liked when you were in college or high school that you look back upon and like, I really love that movie. Don't know if I feel as good about it nowadays being an older adult. I feel like this is kind of Max Payne for me, to where like, I'm like, I love the story. I like the trippiness of it. Like the nightmare scenes were really cool. And the gunplay was fantastic. Like, to me, I even mentioned it on the top PlayStation games. Like, that was one of my top games for PlayStation. To be fair, I played it on PC. I was just kind of using my thoughts like from back then. But like, I love Max Payne back in the day. I still like it. This is one of those games that 1000% needs at least a remaster. But if they're doing a remake, I cannot wait for the remake. As far as like them just honing that game a little bit, is to get rid of all the loading, maybe get like fresh the gameplay up a little bit. But the story is still going to be there, and how you feel about that story is going to tell how you feel about the game overall. I feel, and
it's funny you say that, Preston. I think it's funny you say that because I don't know if you were in Discord when Christian and I were talking about this, but it was one of the days we were just chit chatting about the game. They made a third game that was on Xbox 360, I think, right, or PlayStation 3.
Made by Rockstar. Yeah,
Rockstar did that one.
Yeah. Remedy did not make 3.
Remedy, but yeah.
Sure, but my point here is going to hold true.
Okay.
I think this game gets worse when you get better graphics, because now you realize the brutality that Max Payne has. And like, I've seen some screenshots from the third game, and it's rough. Like, you almost don't even want to watch it because it's like kind of up close with bullet time and like heads exploding and other stuff. If handled incorrectly, I think this remake gets worse.
So the remake is being made by Remedy.
Updated. I know, I'm just saying. I think it gets worse if it's better graphics and it's told that way. Because like, again, Max, like, it's hard to consider him the good guy when he lost his family, but he goes and kills hundreds of people in like, not in a year, not in a lifetime, not in a career, in
day,
24 hours,
2.
not 12 hours. It's like nighttime. Like, he doesn't sleep. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he even says 1 point like 48 hours or something like that. But yeah, it's because it's a Blizzard.
Yeah, it's over the course of like a weekend.
You can't tell what time of the day it is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I personally like the writing in it. I can understand what you would say about it. I think the remaster. I mean, it's the fact that it's being made by Remedy and not being made by Rockstar gives me exceptional amount of hope on it. If this was a remakes were being made by Rockstar, I'd be like, okay, they're going to go over the top with it, and it's going to be too much. But I think Remedy, with their portfolio and experience and like how everybody feels about them as a company, I think they'll do it right. But I'm very curious to see how it is, and cannot wait. I will probably hold off to play 2. Cause I've never played 2, but I'll hold off to play that until the remake happens. Because I'm not dealing with all this stuff with I was dealing with the PS2 and stuff like that, and I'm not fucking around with emulation. I'll just wait for a fucking remake of 2 to come out for me to fuck around with that. And I think they said that it's going to be pretty much a remake, and it's going to be a remake of 1 and 2 in one game. So.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said 26 or 27. 2026 or 2027 for both of those together.
But aside from my video bullshit, and I think I was having a lot of fun with this game. It gets incredibly difficult towards the end, but I think if you kind of hone yourself and kind of play a little safe, you don't have too much of an issue. Like the one guy I was watching the walkthrough. I mean, I'm going through like any corner I turn, fucking hit that bullet time. Let's do a jump and let's just take down some guys. He was a little more conservative about it, to where he was like peeking around corners, and not using the slow motion, but like and kind of just like taking guys out little by little as he's going around the corner. With me, I'm just guns blazing. You gave me bullet time and you gave me all these weapons. Like, I'm gonna go in there and fucking just go ham on it. I had a lot of fun with the game. If I would give it a rating, if I'm gonna rate the PS2 version of it, I would give it probably about 2.5. It's an average game. Me with like my enjoyment of the story, knowing that it'll probably play better on the PC. I would probably say I would give the PC version, if I could play it, I would probably give it a 3 or 3.5, but that doesn't matter because you can't play it on PC. And I don't think that people should have to go through the loops of downloading mods. Hey, I even tried. Christian was right there with me in Discord. I was spent about 45 minutes to an hour.
I also tried, to be fair.
Trying different mods. Yeah, you and Christian tried trying different mods, trying to get it to work. I can never get to work. I'm like, it shouldn't be that hard. It really should.
I think part of it is like a Windows 11 thing, like because most of the fixes were applied for Windows 10. I don't think anybody's went back to like try to update them, but I also
Yeah.
was just like, for me, it was easier. Like I know you went and did like the physical version on the PS2.
Mhm.
For me, it was easier for me to just be like, fuck this, I'm just gonna toss on the Steam Deck and do it.
Yeah. And that's totally understandable. And for the fact that you can't get, other than Xbox, you can get on Steam, but it doesn't work. But you can get on Xbox backwards compatibility. That's the only place you can actually legally play this game. Like when it comes to like
Right.
emulation and stuff like that, like I am for people playing this game through emulation because of the fact that they just don't give us access to it. If PlayStation had it on their store and the Steam version worked, I'd be like, no, you shouldn't be playing the emulation version of this. But because of the fact that this company like hasn't, I mean, to be fair, Rockstar owns it, so I can't put this on Remedy for not ever doing a remaster or remake because they would have to get approval from Rockstar to do so. I put this all on Rockstar, and they're too busy making billions on fucking Grand Theft Auto to like, even bother with doing anything with fucking Max Payne. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say 2.5. I see it's a very average game. Me personally, I like the story a little bit more. I probably with the PC version would give it probably a 3 or 3.5. But as far as what I played, what I had, it's an average game.
I'll go. I can go next. I know Alex is probably gonna save his for last. So I
I mean, I can go. It doesn't matter to me. I can go whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine. So I have the writing for me. I think it's very campy, right?
Right,
Like, and
100%.
it's supposed to be, right? But I think that when you do campy writing, and this actually will play into what I think like from their other games too. But like when you do campy writing, it's a very thin line between like I'm digging what you're putting down, like it's fun. I'm buying this ride or whatever, and it or coming off as like just annoying, and I think I am able to definitely see some of their like that writing style that ends up making its way to Alan Wake, but the thing is I think so. Part of what part of the reason that I think Alan Wake ends up working, obviously from other like some of their meta narrative stuff that I think is fantastic, but in general, when they do a lot of their campy stuff, it's told from the lens of Alan being a like hack shit writer, right? And like so it works because you as the player know that when the game starts doing some of that goofy campy shit that comes from his novels, you're like, oh well, and the game will even call him out and be like, you're just a fucking loser writer, like you suck, like, and doing these things, and then it like it plays into the campiness part, so that when he does when something does happen like that, you're like, oh, it's, it all. But I think that is the difference in the line.
Yeah, Max
Whereas,
Payne only makes fun of itself once within that one section where you pick up the phone and it's just this extended prose to where it's like it's making fun of itself and what it's doing at that point in time. But it doesn't do it very often.
And that's what I mean is I think it falls on the other side of that line for me. But I am able to see like it. There's definitely so many parts. Even the part where it tries to break the fourth wall, right, and like make fun. It's like you're in a video game, like doing that whole thing. Obviously, right, like there's still so many things, even from to Control all the way to Alan Wake 2, that I can see the beginnings of what Remedy ends up trying to do, right? And honestly, like Remedy, as many hits as they have now, they also have had misses, right? Like Quantum Break, like I played that. I think I was the only one who played that fucking game, but like it is okay at best, right? Like, and so like that they sometimes Remedy fucking smash it. Honestly, recently their track record has been nothing but.
There was a
smash
game
it,
before
but
this one that wasn't super well received. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a car combat game or something like that. But
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
very well done, or people don't
Yeah.
like it. I've never played it.
So I think there's that stuff, right? And I think that the story sort of goes all over the place for me, like as far as its theme, right? Like it's like starting out as like a revenge thing, and you're like, okay, right on. It, to me, like I said before, it came off very Punisher-y. And then they start doing the weird trippy stuff, and then they're like, and you're like, okay, and then it goes like, oh, also government like cover up thing, and then it comes back to the revenge thing towards the end, but then it's like, but the government also wanted me to, like, some certain government agents were like cool with me doing it.
Secret
this,
society
and
called the Inner Circle. Yes.
right, like this whole thing, right? It's just and so I feel like it would have benefited to like picking a lane and staying in it as opposed to trying to like dabble in all of these different other like settings for this kind of story. I also maybe I missed it. So, don't anybody who's listening to this and who's like, a crazy Max Payne head, like maybe I missed it or something, but it seemed weird to me when the game was like, 'cause the entire time when they're telling this towards the end, right? I'm still trying to figure out, I'm like, so why was the hit put out on his wife, right? Like, I don't fucking understand.
So,
and then, well, what I mean is, so it gets to the point where they say she,
Sure.
obviously they start saying she started putting her nose where it didn't belong. She ended up figuring out too much. And then they, went and put the hit out on her. But they say that she had been like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say
No, go ahead.
There wasn't a hit on her necessarily. It was they were starting to do like the urban tests or like the they call it urban test or they call it something like that. To where it's like they were going to start using that drug and testing it out like in like urban settings. And I guess because she probably started learning too much, and they're like, okay, well, the Payne house is going to be the first one we drop a whole bunch of these Valkyrie-induced junkies, and we're going to toss them into her house and kind of that's our experiment kind of deal. So she was more or less part of the experiment, but yes, it more or less is a hit. But it's not an assassin coming to get her. It's like, okay, we're going to do our experimental test in the urban areas, but it's going to be her house. And then we know they're going to kill her.
Yeah, well, they knew what that was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But my point in saying is that because they call out and they say, like, she knew too much, blah, blah, blah. She was putting her nose where it didn't belong and all this other shit. But your husband's a detective. And so it doesn't make any sense to me that all the nights that she's coming home and she's starting to get this weird feeling about some shit that's going down, I'm like, y'all didn't have a single conversation? Like, not a single one where you were like, yo, the shit at my work is kind of fucked up. Like, it seems weird to me that she was like, no, I'm going to be... Yeah, like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm just going to keep these suspicions. I'm going to put them down somewhere so that somebody can find out that I am suspicious, but I won't actually be saying that or taking that to anybody. And then I'll get killed, and... even up until this, it just seems, I was like, but then, which, I know it would break but it would make way more sense to me as a game, or even as a revenge story, right? As if she ends up leaving Max a hint somewhere, or had talked to him once before, or something. And so then it was like, I fucking know these people had something to do with it, and I will do whatever it takes to prove it. And however I'm going to do that, I will jump through any of the hoops. I will go I will do whatever I have to do to somehow snake my way into wherever this, the head of the snake is, and I will go after it. That's what I'm going to do. So if that means I got to become a criminal, that's what I'm doing. Like that kind of thing. I think a little change like that would have made it so that I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it makes sense, right? Like, there's so much of this where it feels like Max is kind of like, it feels like it almost comes off like he's like, I'm mad, and so it's everybody else's fault, and so people are gonna have to pay for that until I've decided that I'm not mad anymore. And then it only so happens that as he makes his way through, he's like, oh, I was killing the right people. And you're like, well, yeah, but by accident, though. And most of these people are unwitting participants in this larger thing that didn't actually, like, it wasn't their fault in the first place. Like, there's obviously certain gang leaders and stuff, right, that are complicit.
ACA Court used the mob to get the drug on the street, so therefore they're involved in this, and that's how he got up.
Right. So right, and those leaders are totally complicit, right? But like all of the people that are souped up on the drugs that those people just got injected against their will based on the way that the story is told. It's like, yeah, dog, you just murdered them for no reason. Like, they didn't, whatever. I guess they're in your way. But like, again, but if it was the change of, I know there's something going on, and so I don't give a fuck about anything else. That's what I'm doing. And then, you could even do not that I think this is a good storyline anyway, but if you go, I'm not saying that for Max Payne, but I mean like this overall theme I'm about to mention, but like, you could do the Last of Us 2 thing at the end where it's like, even though Ellie went through and destroyed like all these different people, at the end she learns revenge is bad again, because I also learned that in the first game, right? But like, so that's what I meant by saying I don't think this storyline is a good one anyway. But you could do something like even like that, right? Like where Max is at the end of it and he goes, man, I really had the fucking blinders on. That was kind of fucked up. Like,
yeah, you realize it's for nothing. It doesn't bring your family back. It didn't bring him peace.
Right.
It's
But
revenge.
you could have done
Right.
something like that, right?
Story,
Like, but if you had known, but if he had a goal at the beginning, you at least could have taken the ride and then had him at the end be like, you know, man, was it all really worth it? I feel kind of fucked up right now. And then like it could have just went from there, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't come off like it comes off like he kind of just like he kind of falls upward into an answer that he was not really concerned with getting one way or the other. He was just like, I mean, if I fucking find the people, like, then great, but otherwise everybody's dying anyway, so what does it fucking matter? And to top at the end, I'll just say the end is at the fucking final scene starts right at the beginning, where right before the credits, he's just looking right in the camera, and it's just like, guys, but either way, yeah, so I'm like, I go back and forth. I was a little torn because, like I said, there are a lot of things I do think I appreciate from it, right? Like from a gameplay perspective, even though I think you have to rely on bullet time way too much to be able to actually complete the fucking game. I think so. By the end, I will say like the novelty did wear off on it, but it is very like fun and action movie-y to like when you're coming like right around a corner and do it right and like kind of smoke people and do that. Or like one in particular that I'm thinking of is there's the I think it's towards the beginning of the final part, but there's like he's like talking to somebody and like, oh, you know, door gets kicked in and all these dudes come in, but like literally the cutscene, as soon as the cutscene ends, you can press the button and just like catch everybody in the room and do that, like while Max like is like he fucking has like a whole view of the room as the door comes down. You can just like boom, stop it, just like bam, 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 get everybody, and then fucking come out of it. And so all that stuff does feel good, right? Like getting the drop on somebody, getting that little slow mo thing, and doing those things, I think is cool. And I have an appreciation for obviously Control, but also I'm one of Alan Wake 1's defenders. Like I know people were, you know, people like that game, but there's a lot of people who were like, meh. And then Alan Wake 2 obviously blew everybody away. I'm a fan of those three games specifically, but Alan Wake 1, I think it worked for me, and I liked a lot what they were doing and what they were trying to do there. And so me being able to see a lot of that early DNA in this one makes me a little bit softer to it. Because I'm like, oh, well, this is where you got that from, or this is where you started to, you were developing, you know, that kind of thing. So all that being said, I'm gonna go too flat on this one. I think that some of its faults don't outweigh it enough for me to go like full average or like a little bit above average. But I do think that it is very clearly like an early stuff. And honestly, if they do a full Resident Evil 4 style like remake where they do it from the ground up and try to do anything, I would be interested to know how Remedy change, because I don't think they would keep the same story. I mean, they might keep the same like pillar of a story, as in like it's going to be a revenge tale.
You think they would keep the graphic panels? They think they just get rid of those and do their own new thing?
I think they would do their own new thing. Yeah. Which I do. Which you know,
they said remake, maybe not
they don't.
Remaster. So they said remake.
Right.
So
I think they would only because I think that like if you go and look at something like Alan Wake 2, which is obviously their most recent game, the talent they got at that studio is just out of this fucking world now, in my opinion, like for real. And so,
and they can tell much better stories, like
right, like it's like seriously,
they got
right,
new
and so
and more writers. Yeah, they've evolved as a company for sure.
And like, you know, with what they've done with Max Payne in the Alan Wake universe now, and like the way that they have portrayed him as this gritty noir detective that was doing all these things, or like, I think it would be very interesting to see what their new take is
I would probably
on that style thing.
well. Yeah.
Right. So I you know, I'll be very interested to see if they what they end up doing there. But yeah. That's where I'll land on it.
So I won't rehash my problems with the gameplay and stuff. It's fine, and I agree with a lot of what Christian said. So I'm not going to go through all of that there. So I'll give two new arguments, which is I think it's both a bad revenge story, and I think it's a bad noir story. I think it fails at both. So, if you're strictly... We'll go with the revenge first, because I think it is a revenge story, but it's more of a noir genre.
Yeah.
So, I think it fails at revenge, because what makes a great revenge story is the character suffering. We don't see Max Payne suffer. We don't feel Max Payne suffer, and there's nothing earned, right? He had a wife and a kid, cool.
The only time you get the suffering is him when he's going, no! And that's all you get.
Yeah, you get the weird thing of the weird demonic parts where you're fall into blood trail and running through the maze house, but that doesn't do anything. It doesn't earn you anything. You don't know a history of how he spent his weekends with his kid. You don't know anything about his wife. So nothing's earned. So I actually think it fails at a revenge story. So instead, because we don't see him suffer, he is the bully the whole game, right? To Christian's point, it's just I'm mad. So you're all going to feel my anger until I've decided I'm not angry. But even at the end of the game, you're still angry. So that we get a 2, we get a 3 or whatever. But it doesn't feel like anything's earned, and it doesn't feel like anything's learned. So at the end, he's not a changed person. It hasn't affected him anyway. He's left this trail of carnage, and it is what it is, right? So I think...
And he plans on continuing it.
Yeah.
He does.
Oh, he does.
He does. So
yeah.
I actually think it's a bad revenge story.
Sure.
I think it's worse at a noir story because it can't understand scale. So if you think about things that... So I don't know how... Everybody listening, I don't know how much of a noir fan you are. Yeah. Fuck you, I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
So so people know noir from the old 20s and 30s style thing from the 60s and 70s, right? You have the private detective and his
Dick
little
Tracy,
office, and the woman comes in, and the dame, and the Dick Tracy, and the thing that people know about those, a woman comes in and she's I need you to help me find who killed my husband or whatever. These stories are small and self-contained. What you find is she killed the husband, or you find that maybe it was a little conspiracy, but the conspiracy ended as the police chief right there. If you bring it further and you look at things that are more modern, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Brick, right?
Yep.
So Brick with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep, it's great.
Rain Johnson did that, right? It takes place in a little town of a disappearance, but it all happens in a high school with all of these kids. And you find out they were dealing drugs in the back end and so on. If you go further than that, you can look at things that are maybe less direct noir, but noir adjacent. So Perry Mason on HBO, which is actually pretty noir. Or True Detective. There are larger conspiracies here, but True Detective takes place at a simple house, and it's really the failure of a small police department. Or you look at Perry Mason, the new one, especially on HBO, which takes place at City Hall. They're all self-contained. Okay, that's my point there. They're very small stories. This one starts small, and by the end of it, you have this huge conglomerate that's running a drug trade with the mob, that with lower level gangsters, and they're oh, she has half the people in her pocket in the city, she could do what. Then why did she kill you? Why didn't she kill you along with your family? Because she has half the people on the payroll. She could have just ended this and kept going, and nobody cares because everybody is going to look the other way, right? So even on the noir piece, the scale got too big for itself to make for an impactful story.
And it felt too, even when they were trying to go for it, they couldn't even pick a scale that they wanted to stick with. It was it was always escalating, but in different ways of a different story.
If you would have kept it small and on the streets and to the mob, I would have even forgiven the stupid, I'm trying to summon Cthulhu from the depths of hell, whatever.
That's the effects of the drug, but yeah.
Sure, but if you would have kept it small, there is a street drug that is affecting people, and a couple of people went off one night and killed 2 random, a woman and a kid in a break-in, and that's a smaller, tighter story that makes sense. But by the time you get to this woman who's a billionaire in a tower running this huge corporate, it's too much. It's too much, and it does make me question, why would you even waste your time killing a detective that was his friend, then framing him for it, and like you just kill him. Just kill him and move on, right? So that's inherently my problem, just from like the writing aspect of this. Aside from the stupid jokes, aside from like the crazy faces on polygons, aside from all of that other stuff, it's just, in my opinion, it's a bad story.
Sure.
From all things they wanted to hit, I don't think they did.
Don't get me wrong.
And
I am
if
not
you
saying it's a great story. I'm saying I enjoyed it.
I'm saying it's a bad story.
Yeah, I'm saying I enjoyed it.
So like, but like, again, I think people forgive it because they're like, oh, it nails noir. No, it's dark and it's a story. Like, you might as well have started this story with like A Dark and Stormy Night, because that's the only noir beat of it. Honestly, it's just a detective tale with a guy that's out for blood. So I'm not as harsh in my rating as I am in my opinion.
Well, it's because you're also like someone who went to school for writing. You love writing, so when you see somebody fuck up specific themes like revenge tale, a noir tale, you're like sitting there like want to pull your hair out because you would know how to write one of those fucking properly.
And like I like watching that shit. I mean, honestly, like
stuff.
all that stuff that I named
great.
is my jam, right? It's like what I enjoy. So, I also give it a 2. Because I think if you take it at the time with its contemporaries, there are good things that it did.
Sure.
To Christian's point, I did like, there were little things in the backstage where you're at the band of, what was it, Ragnarok, right? I thought was goofy because like you could see that in Alan Wake 2 with the way they did their stuff. So like, I'm not as harsh on the game. I think it's a 2. Not quite average because there are other games that came out at the same time that are just better and did things that proved they could have done better and they didn't. So slightly below average, but yeah, I just think it, in my opinion, it doesn't hold up. So I didn't even think about them doing a remake from the ground up and like actually changing the story. I think there's enough that's problematic in the way that's written. There are changes that need to be done.
Oh,
yes. So I'm interested to see. I would be interested to see like what they would do because honestly, like I agree with Christian. Yeah. As somebody that only jumped into Remedy with Control and then did Control in Alan Wake 2, again a horror game that wouldn't have been my jam originally, like those are so well written. What you could do with this now would be impressive.
Rewrite it. Yeah.
Right.
Do it if
you rewrote
with your new team. Yeah, that's making bangers. Yeah.
And you can give, and especially if you're doing a longer thing and you're trying to combine the first 2 games, you could do something where like Sam Casey is like, it will always be Max Payne now, but like the way they have it tied into Alan Wake 2 and stuff, and even Alan Wake 1 is like, you can give some extra backstory. Like you can get and show that he's like this grizzled detective that is always doing this stuff and always around all this stuff. And then like you can even give some backstory like to Alec, like to what we were saying, like give some backstory to his wife, give some backstory to his kid, like all of it. Give all of this extra stuff, and then like I would rather you tell a whole different story. Like I said, like I mean obviously it's Max Payne, so you still have to do a revenge tale, like
but you
how
could
it
have cut
is.
out
like,
all
honestly,
the cult stuff. Like that doesn't need to be in there. Like you could cut all that out and have that be like where you could put in all like the past stuff and things.
I think you could even keep it and go meta with it if you're able to.
Sure.
And like
which they have proven that they can.
The whole comment of like you're in a video game, put him in a fucking video game, and maybe you don't find out about that towards close to the end, but then you can even tell a better story and play off some of the over the topness of it. It'd be interesting, but yeah, I give it a 2 out of 5. I didn't love it, but I get it. I get it.
Again, there's a lot of rose-tinted glasses from me being younger, and just me being the person who I was back then would have enjoyed this more than me enjoying it now. So, yeah, super excited. Christian is super excited to see what they do with the remake.
Yeah, cool. All right, well with that, Christian, let us all know.
Surprise us, Christian.
Surprise us, yeah. So we're playing Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. Now, there are some things here. We have already played what is of the main series, we have already played what my favorite was, which is 3.
Sure.
And I said technically my second favorite because Rising is my actual favorite. So I have only played, this will be my second time playing 4. I have never went back to it, mostly because of the inability to do so.
Yeah.
So I can't promise what kind of game we're gonna play. I can't say how you're gonna feel about it. What I can say is that you will have never played a game like this, and you will never play another game like this one. That's a fact.
Okay.
Is that? Can you tell us why? Like, is it the hardware? Is it the time? Is this just so full blown Kojima that it's?
It is so full blown Kojima that outside of something like, so even I don't think.
I've seen bits of this.
I don't think
and
Death
it goes
Stranding
very
is
hard.
even Death Stranding is not like as full blown Kojima as like I think this is. I think Metal Gear Solid 4 is watching somebody like Kojima reckon with everything that he has created up until this point, and then saying, no, I'm going to make it so that there is no questions.
Okay.
And it, from that perspective, it is mind-blowing. Like it's famous for how long its cutscenes are and everything, but like right now, you guys have played through 1, 2, and 3. And obviously with 3, we got plenty of backstory to lead up to Big Boss and the character that he was, and all the things that turned him in. We played 1 and 2, obviously watching Snake's growth throughout all that stuff. But there are a lot of things, like for instance, what's Raiden doing? What's going on with that? We don't fucking know, right? What's going on with Snake? What's going on with the kid that we were talking about rescue, right? All of that stuff, right? Is Otacon still a piece of shit? Guess what? We'll find out all of that here. And like I said, I will not be able to. 3, I was able to confidently say, I think everyone's going to come away from this and be like, this is pretty solid. I can't promise how people are going to feel about this one, but what I can promise is that you guys will walk away and go, I have never played anything like that before in my life. So that being said, here's what we're playing to. The easiest way to split this up, and this is the way we're going to do it. It'll be 5
We're going to watch the
parts.
first movie cutscene, and then we're going to call it a day. That is number 1.
No. So we are going to play the little small tutorial area that's about 10 minutes, and then we are going to do all of Act 1.
Okay.
You will know we are at the end of Act 1 because it will have a save screen that pops up at the end of each act. And at the end of each act, there is an interlude where they give the mission briefing for what the next one is. So you will save the game. You will see a cutscene with a plane flying, and the writing will say mission briefing after you save for Act 1. You can just close the game. It will, when you boot it back up, it will start you right from that screen, so you'll be fine there. And that is how we're going to do it. So the little tutorial area, all of Act 1, and that is what we're going to do.
Okay.
So now I'm playing my physical PS3 copy right back there, so that's what I'm playing it on. These guys are going to do their own thing, but we're going to...
At a certain point, I'm not ashamed of it for this one because fuck Sony and Konami or whatever, because it is only playable
it's Sony,
on PlayStation 3.
That,
you can't, there's
isn't
no...
it because of that chip? Because they
It's because of this
cell
shitty PlayStation
processor,
3 slot,
yeah.
You cannot get that anywhere. To play this game, you have to get a PS3. You have to get the game on PS3. Like, there's no other way. It's just like it's horseshit. Spend your fucking time, get that game on other things.
Oh, it actually doesn't. It doesn't exist on PC at all. Like it's
No,
legit.
it's the only.
Yeah.
It only exists on PS3. Period. Like nothing.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's on there. I don't even think. So you know how PS5 has that service where you can go back and play
because I got
online?
PlayStation Plus.
It's not even on that.
It's not even on that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of PS3 games, but not that one.
It didn't even make the cut on there. Yeah, it's crazy. But I will say, so I went through the install process and everything like that for like to get in and to do it. And man, we'll talk about it. I'll save it for the actual episode. But man, there's some stuff in there that was like, he
goes hard in this one. I've seen plenty of people play it, parts and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
This game is super Kojima.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is. So.
All right, everybody. Well, that is part 2 of Max Payne. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to check in with Preston for his Spoopy Sundays, the month of October. Is that starting this week?
It's starting this week.
Where's that? this week.
Yeah.
Spoopy Sundays this week. And then we'll be back at you with another episode next week. Thank you, everybody. And with that, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it.
Password. John Who. Come on.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.